Holy shit, do I hate being right. I wake up today and find out that they burned 15 cop cars in Portland, Oregon. I'm convinced we live in a fucking twilight zone. They literally, I've been watching videos of the footage from these campuses. It looks like scenes out of 300. Literally wading into each other with every inanimate object they can pick up and throw or swing. And, you know, what was I saying there about December 2023? That I expect that this shit there'll be riots and whatnot. By this point this year, I hate being right. Now the 2020, I could understand that in the beginning, because you know, from the outset, that was started over George Floyd. You know, somebody who was wrongly killed by police brutality, or at least that's what the optics made it seem like at the time. I could understand that. Of course, those got out of hand. There was actually peaceful protesters in all of those. But then there was, you know, as it went on, as the months dragged, it got more and more violent, and then it suddenly turned into a let's destroy everything we can fucking see and find. Well, here we are again 4 years later, but this time the reasoning is probably the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen in my whole life. You've got people out here fighting because of what's going events of a war that we're not directly involved in. People pro-Palestine and people pro-Israel. And I thought I would make fun of the situation by playing Blue Oyster Cult's "This Ain't the Summer of Love." I'm gonna turn it off now. It served its point. But the whole reasoning for this, whatever the fuck this is, and now this may be a short-lived little fart in the toilet, this whole rioting and protesting going on right now, but you just don't know, because it is an election year. But the reasoning for this, you know, a war that we're not directly involved in, and two countries that no matter what we do over here isn't going to affect a damn thing over there. But yeah, these people, and I understand they're idiotic college children, early 20s, I'm assuming, probably just out of high school, have no clue about the world, and you know, they still have that almost religious fervor that politics can impose on you. But to go to these extremes, you know, people out there saying Allah Akbar and dressing up like they're from Palestine. It's like, I bet you didn't believe in any kind of God prior to this, but now suddenly you're a Muslim. You're doing prayers to Allah, you know, but, you know, praying, bowing to the east 5 times a day. And now that's not to say that there aren't Muslims in the groups. There certainly are, but this whole thing is the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen. You know, 2020, the shit with that was retarded in and of itself. Some person I didn't know died from police brutality. I'm gonna go burn the city down, and me and my buddies are gonna, like, you know, harass and beat up people. We're gonna take over a whole section of like 3 blocks worth of city and create our own little country in it. That's pretty damn stupid. And now you got, oh, you know, some people are getting bombed thousands of miles away in a war. Well, me and my buddies, we're going to burn our college campus to the ground. And anybody who doesn't agree with us, or if we think they're a Jew, we're going to harass and torment them. And you know, the other side isn't no better. You know, they're going to pick up a flag of Israel, and now suddenly they're part of the IDF, having their own little Middle Eastern war here in good old hometown America. It's the craziest fucking shit. So, here we are again. This ain't the summer of love. It's the summer of love 3.0, as somebody said. And you gotta keep an eye on this one, because I remember vividly the craziness of 2020. There's a lot of people that want to pretend that shit didn't happen. But I remember it well. And where we're at right here, they were rioting just a few miles down the street in the town here. And I remember going through Arby's, you could still see where they had wrote ACAB on the dumpsters in the back. And you know, ACAB means all cops are bastards. So, you know, craziness can be entertained, and also this just proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that craziness can be entertained by anybody over anything if the, you know, right messaging is used and emotions start getting into play. Because, you know, I understand a lot of these are, they know exactly what they're doing, and a lot of them probably understand that it's fucking retarded. They're getting paid to do it. But then there's probably a lot in the population of the riots and all that genuinely and truly believe that they're going to make a difference for Palestine or Israel. My stance on the whole thing is I don't care. You know, like I said, ain't nothing we gonna do or say is gonna influence what the leaders of Palestine or the leaders of Israel think. They're gonna continue to bomb and kill each other like they always have. And honestly, you know, I'm a Christian. You know, I've been seeing a lot lately too. A lot of people are like, well, if you don't support Israel, you know, there's the anti-Jewish, you know, they'll say, oh, you're a Nazi or any of that, or, you know, they're like, oh, well, you must not be a true Christian if you don't support Israel, because, you know, the Bible says Israel is the apple of God's eye, and that's the Holy Land. Well, that's true. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I have to completely agree or support what the Israeli government does. You know, it's just like the U.S. government. I love my country. I'm a proud American. But I do not, for 1 minute, entertain or support or believe the lies that the establishment put on us. Because for the last 3 years, and for a longer time than that a lot of people weren't aware of, and even if they were, the U.S. government hasn't had America's values at heart. You know, the preamble of the Constitution starts with "we the people." And going by that, we are the government. So, people in Congress, the Senate, the House, the Oval Office, they're supposed to be up there representing us. And, you know, they're supposed to listen to us and what we say. But they haven't. And honestly, you know, blind faith in the United States government of any kind right now, you really need to, like, take a step back and really think about what it is you're supporting in that regard. But it's the same deal, you know. Israel is the Holy Land, but at the same time, you don't have to agree with everything Benjamin Netanyahu or the IDF do. And so my stance on the whole thing is neutral. It has nothing to do with the United States, has nothing to do with me. I feel the repercussions of it because of, you know, gas prices going up because trade and all that. Same with Ukraine. And I may not be hitting the nail exactly on the head because I don't know all the nitty-gritty details that somebody would want me to know in regard to that. But at the same time, I really don't care. Because, you know, constant worry and wonder and anger and frustration about Middle Eastern wars that U.S. troops are not on the ground for takes all of your attention away from the economy and that wide open border between us and Mexico, where, you know, if any of that money we've thrown into the fire pit that is the war in Ukraine, the war in Israel, if any of that was going to help the country, which I've seen so many ignorant motherfuckers, pardon my French, on both sides of the aisle, left and right, say, oh, you know, sending all that money over there to Israel, sending all that money over there to Ukraine is helping us. I have yet to see in any reasonable capacity how that has helped us, other than put us more in debt and cause the prices of everything to go up. It's utter insanity, and it's all they do it on purpose. Do you think a politician in Washington really gives a rat's ass about Israel or Palestine? Do you really think a politician in Washington really gives a rat's ass about Ukraine or Russia? No. All they care about is that money that's being sent over coming back to them in the form of laundering. It's a big old Ponzi scheme, big old circle around on the investments. They're enriching themselves at the expense of people actually fighting and dying for lies that have been fed to them by us and ignorant European powers. You know, especially Ukraine. Like, my God, 600,000 people dead because, you know, they thought if they just grit their teeth and, you know, dance in a voodoo circle, that eventually they'd be, if they believed in the magic power of Joe Biden and Zelensky's asshole, that they had survived, be able to defeat Russia. I still see dumbass sons of bitches saying, oh, we're going to, after we take back the Donbass region, we're going to march on Moscow. I'm like, what kind of drugs are you on? Like, Jesus Christ. And the same thing with Israel. You know, the same people that scoff their nose at Ukraine turn around and start licking Benjamin Netanyahu's ass. Oh, you know, Israel's doing such a good job. They're preventing terrorists from coming over to America. Meanwhile, the border between us and Mexico is wide open. And there's been like 20 million people come across in the last 30 years. Or not, well, I guess that's not wrong, but the last 3 years it's been 20 million. I just woke up and my brain is razzle-frazzled. But you know, yeah, so how has Benjamin Netanyahu done anything to help America keep terrorists out? Truly, we live in crazy, and it gets crazier with each day, and I just sit back and shake my head. And it falls right down between party lines. conservatives support the war in Israel. Oh, let's bomb them Palestinians back to hell. Don't truly understand the reasons why. And then, I mean, yeah, the October 7th attack, but there's a lot of bullshit in there that Israel covered up that they did. And, you know, they didn't want nobody to find out. And now that the focus has shifted, they're kind of, you know, the little details are coming out. And then if you're a liberal Democrat, you support the war in Ukraine. Oh, you know, poor old Zelensky and his country. Even though Zelensky was, you know, never spoke a word of Ukrainian before he became president. You know, poor old Zelensky and the Ukrainians invaded by Russia. We have to send every dime and nickel and bullet we got to make sure that the Russians don't move into the rest of Europe. You know, despite the fact that Ukraine's the most corrupt country in the world, and we've done a lot of shady shit over there, like putting up bio labs and whatnot. But all that goes by the wayside, you know. Somebody on the TV tells you what to think, that's what's important, right? So anyway, here we go again. 2024. Let's see how this shit goes. I'm looking forward to the fires. I'm getting my popcorn ready, because this shit, we're going to see the war between Israel and Palestine take place and unfold right in our backyard. It's going to be most entertaining, and I am all but ready for the war and fire and flame.